quickly back into play here, although under some trouble immediately. Picked up by Fletcher, and look at that. So easy.
Option, it's Hipwood at 50. The Lions are surging forward again. Eric wheels onto the left, goes for it, and gets it. They move it forward. Rayner, Gardner for the team goal. Oh, yes! Turner in best position. Dangerous spot. Gardner grabs it and goals! He's got 4!
The Brisbane Lions fancast is back straight after another Sunday afternoon game, and I've got to say I'm not enjoying the last couple of weeks, but we are getting the results that we have deserved, arguably all season. Our chickens are coming home to roost. We are now 7-2-1. I haven't had a look at the ladder, but I would imagine we are no longer sitting on top, probably still top 4, but another game against a bottom 4 side where we have dropped our bundle. And, you know, rule number 1 of playing Melbourne is don't kick long down the line anywhere near Max Gawn. Do you reckon they got that memo, especially in the last quarter?
I thought that was a rhetorical question. So, no, they didn't get the memo.
I thought so too. It is JB and Patrick, thanks to Hawthorn Brewery Tours and Crisp Communications. Oh, God, what is our football team doing to us, Pat? We scraped away with a draw last week when we shouldn't have. This week, we got done. We got done by Melbourne, and rightly so. Max Gawn was huge. Petrarca in the middle. Clayton Oliver did a job on Neil. Darcy Garner kicked a bag. Eric Hipwood was our backup ruck. All of these things and more are yet to be discussed. Votes are going to be difficult today, Pat. Votes are going to be difficult. That's what I will say.
Oh, they're pretty easy for me, to be honest.
Okay.
What? I mean, like, there's 3 people that stood out as being like quite good, and that was it. I mean, all I can say is that in this game we played some really, really good football, like really good football, and then we just decided to, for whatever reason, stop playing in the last quarter. And like, you're sitting there going, okay, so it's 14 points or whatever. We've managed to just like get back to a good lead going into the last quarter. And you're like, okay, let's maybe bring on McKenna, add a bit of like zip and run to kind of perk things up.
That sub needed to be made 10 to 15 minutes earlier than it was, hey?
It was like, it cut to him. They're getting ready to make the sub. And then 6 minutes later, he's getting a rub down on the bench, having not been on. And it's like, what? Do that at 3/4 time or at the end of the second, third. Like, what?
I know.
Put him on the field. Because there were some players that left a little bit to be desired.
Yeah, I mean, sitting at the Gabba, I was talking to Andy and Deb, who I sit next to, and we're sort of ruminating about the sub. I said, it'll be one of 2 people. It'll be Lohman or it'll be Coleman, because they want to manage his minutes. And sure enough, it was obviously Lohman. But why they waited so long, and it's just like the whole feel of the game, it was just sort of chugged along. We sort of kept that 2 to 3 goal margin for such a long time, and then some point during the third quarter, I was like, how are we only 2 goals in front? I feel like we've been a lot better than to only be, 14 points in front. And then I thought, that's fine. Melbourne have been so garbage in the last quarters this year. We'll just chalk this up as another win that we probably could have won by more, but didn't. And then it all unfolded, and we just decided to kick it to Max Gawn. Jake Melksham has once again gone home with Harris Andrews in his back pocket. Yeah, pretty yucky, pretty stinky game. Yes,
it was. I said just before we started, we well and truly lost that game in the second quarter, where we had a lot of very good looks inside 50 and just could not hit a target. And that was sort of... whether that's another element of the structure and stuff, but we're probably getting ahead of ourselves. So who basically called the lineup change?
You did, my friend.
I think it was me, yeah.
Yes, it was. So Coleman came in, Berry went out, Fort was dropped, and then it ultimately came back in, and McKenna came in as the sub. And obviously there was that late change with Oscar going out, Darcy Fort coming in, which was a bit strange. I thought, if we're going 2 rucks against Cherry, yeah, obviously it didn't work for us, but I thought we would still persist against Max Gorn. But as we know, we were going in with 1 ruck regardless. Oscar was going to be the guy, but we found out throughout the week that he has been battling through soreness. Epidurals and all sorts of stuff have been administered to get him through week-to-week proposition stuff. He was a laid out. Darcy Fort came in, and Max Gorn just had an absolute field day today.
He did. The strange thing with that is it didn't really. It kept Melbourne in the game a little bit, but we were able to kind of turn the game in kind of post stoppage clearance, and even in stoppages we were fine. It was the centre clearance that was killing us early on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a weird one. I think when you look at between like Fort and Gardner, I feel like you can't have all 3 of them in a team. Otherwise, you're like asking for trouble just in terms of foot speed. And I know Gardner's got a bit of a toe. But yeah, I think the 3 of them, which we saw against North Melbourne, was nay good. Whereas 2 of them is okay, because I don't think that it was necessarily Fort's lack of effort. And definitely not Darcy Gardner were not the reasons why we lost that game of football. So,
well, certainly not Darcy Gardner today. And like his 3rd goal where he kicked it on the run, ridiculous. Like I think it was Cam Rayner that dished off the ball. Who sees Darcy Gardner on the run and goes, yep, that's the option, I'll give it to him, and he runs into 50 and kicks the goal. Silly behaviour.
He's also got an absolutely no-nonsense set shot where he just goes, all right, cool, here I am, and I'll send it through.
Yeah. I mean, like, 4 goals is it. I did post before the game, and we spoke about it on the show last week briefly. We thought he would sort of have a diffusing job on Steve May. And I posted on our socials before the game, said, look, a lot of people don't want Darcy Gardner in the team. I get that. But don't judge him on his scoreboard impact today. If Stephen May is held accountable and is, limited to a handful or less of intercept possessions, then that's probably a win for Darcy Gardner, and that's, the role that we should be judging him on. Turns out he went nowhere near Stephen May and kicked it back.
Well, that is also what I said when on the Reddit when things got announced. I said, I wonder if Stephen May will have a quiet game like Collins did 2 weeks ago, and no one will breathe a mention of Darcy Gardner. Now, I had no idea that he would go and kick 4 goals.
No one did.
But it was not very apparent what the structure and setup was watching on the broadcast. Now, naturally, me, Fox Footy, it was, hello, I'm Dwayne Russell. I'm immediately, I'm off. Yeah. I'm gone. So I went on to
welcome
SEN
wherever you are around the
Smart.
planet. Did he hit that one?
No, I didn't. And I quite frankly didn't want to. And then I ran into some issues with the SEN sync and then wound up with Channel 7, which was not terrible, but then you're dealing with ads and, it's just... Like the SEN sync was caught in between 25 and 26 seconds.
That's annoying.
So it's just enough to annoy the piss out of me. But yes, so our team change was, essentially Hipwood was playing as a Joe Danaher replacement, and that looked great for a while.
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, he was harnessing the Joe.
Oh, yeah, especially when he took that mark 55-60 out, wheeled around on the left and drained it. That's quintessential Joe.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I thought that he competed reasonably well across the game. But, first quarter, they kicked the first goal. Melksham decided he wanted to put the knee into Harris, and then, we looked pretty good. We looked pretty good in the first half, I would say, but we were leaving them in it a little bit, and there were just some really annoying things that were happening that were getting them scores, and it's the sort of thing where we weren't doing a lot of the simple things very well, and we were letting them get out the back and that sort of thing. What was your take on the first quarter, Brooksy?
First quarter, yeah, it was all right. What I just don't understand is, and it took to the last 5 minutes of the game where they, Fags and the coaching team finally made a change. It's sort of like Harris Andrews just sort of willingly went to Melksham. Like, okay, fine. Like, I guess I've just accepted my fate and this is going to be the matchup. He didn't try to manipulate it whatsoever to try and break away from him and start, progressing to someone else and chop out with Jack Payne or Froggy or anything. And Melksham got him again. Like, Melky, he's playing really well on Harris Andrews. He just knows how to do it. I don't know whether it's, footy IQ or just body shape or athleticism, whatever it is, but just that matchup works really well for Melbourne and not so much for Harris Andrews.
Yeah, Melk has this knack of he knows when to take back spot and knows when to take front spot.
Yeah.
And, like, they space quite well because I thought Jack Payne was pretty poor today. And
he had moments.
Yeah, he just... His assuredness of hands was not there, as it kind of has been so often this season. But, yeah, Melksham knows when to kind of take back position to sort of bait Harris into either whether he's going to go into the contest or either he's going to go back. And then it gives Melksham the jump. And he's got a good jump. He's got a face only a mother could love. But then also at the same time, he's the guy that smashed out Stephen May, right?
There was an altercation between the two, yeah.
So he can't be all that bad. Like, I think
he's a good footballer.
We're going to boil down,
he's a good footballer.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, whatever. But I think if you're looking at Stephen May going, hey, look, if you'd played, we wouldn't have won the flag, and Jake Melksham smashing him out, that story is solid gold across the board. I love it. But yeah, Melksham, so he spaces and he kind of, but then when Harris sags off, he'll get front spot.
Yeah.
So it's very smart the way that he tends to play. And Harris was almost made to look as foolish as Sicily was in terms of having some marks taken over his head. So having not been given all Australian blazers, he's not having a great year, our Harris, I would say. And he would not be in that conversation for me, which means he'll probably get it.
He certainly hasn't had a great fortnight, I'll tell you that. Midfield, again, had their colours lowered from the likes of Petrarca and Rivers, Sparrow, Oliver, obviously gone. Langdon ran through there as well. Cozzy Pickett attended a few CBAs. It's just a couple of weeks where the midfield, after 2 really strong weeks against the Saints and the Suns, they've just sort of fallen back into the mire a little bit.
I don't know whether, because you did show me Jake White, that really
Jeff
boring
White, yeah.
stoppage. Jeff White, sorry, I knew it was Jeff or Jack or whatever White. I did watch a bit of that. It is horrendously boring.
Yeah, it's dry as I told you it was.
Yeah, it's horrendous. Yeah, and it's like they just opted in the last couple of weeks to go, it doesn't matter if Big O's got back problems or we've got Fort coming in against Gawn. Just no accountability. Just act as if we're going to win every tap. And when you watch those kind of analysis videos, you can really clearly see that some teams set up with the expectation of losing the ruck duel. And I don't know whether it's the case of we set up with the idea of reading the tap and then he would tap it over the top if we were taking front spot, and he's got that allowance. But yeah, it really wasn't good.
No.
I didn't think they necessarily had their colours lowered, because I thought that, up until the last quarter, Petrarca, he looks like a shell of a player that he once was. And I thought, Clayton Oliver was pretty good value, but at the same time, like, our guys got a lot of the ball.
Yeah.
And they didn't do a great deal with the ball. And I think we touched on this last year, where we need our midfielders not getting 30. We need them getting 20 to 25 and being super damaging with those. Yeah. And that was where I was quite critical of Jared Lyons at the beginning of last year, because he was accumulating a lot, but he wasn't able to move the ball as quickly as sort of we should be, particularly when we've got kind of a smaller or more inexperienced forward line. So, Yeah, Cozzy Pickett, he likes playing against us, doesn't he?
He does.
Melksham likes playing against us. Oliver quite likes playing against us. His tormentor Berry wasn't there, so he would have slept a lot easier this week. But
I was really happy Jack Viney wasn't there because Jack Viney loves playing against us as well. So
I forgot he existed.
that could have made things a whole lot worse. I thought Zach Bailey's role today was a little bit not strange, but he seemed to get a lot of possessions backward of the ball. Like he got a lot of ball, in the D50, which was a bit strange for Bales because he's usually a forward half player. I thought he had a pretty good game in the end, actually, Bales, for his 150th.
I thought he was one of our best, to be honest. So
2 150ths, obviously, Cam and Bales. Cam was okay.
I thought Rayner was virtually anonymous.
Yeah.
There were a couple of times where he tried to burst, but it's really hard because you're really looking at this game in like two phases because we were so good at times. The way we were moving the ball was like unbelievable. And then we just stopped. We just completely stopped. And whether it's a fitness thing, whether it's a season ebbing and flowing, the winds of time,
it feels like we're sort of at that point where we're limping towards the bye a little bit, and we've got a couple of really tough games before we get there, unfortunately.
We've got a late bye. Our bye is in round 14.
Yeah.
So because the expectation was that we would have a bye beforehand. So they did the right thing this season because last year we had 2 early buys, but we just obviously didn't get our round. Give me my round 3 bye.
I thought Fletch was pretty good across the day. Motti was pretty good. Klug had bits and pieces. Here is a stat that I think will probably tell you all you need to know about the day, and it's pretty gross. Do you know who not just our leading tackle maker, but leading tackles across the whole game was?
I'm trying not to look. Was it Darcy Fort?
He was second. Ryan Lester with 5. Topped the absolute table across both teams. 5 tackles shouldn't be a leading tackle getter. Darcy Fort got 4, same with Dunkley. So that's not good.
No, well, it was trending towards a shootout, and then it got really drab. Unfortunately, it was admittedly, because North Melbourne and Richmond was a fantastic game. It was like so horrible that it was really compelling to watch, and to swap it over to our game and then get like an initial shootout was like, cool. All right, well, I'm not at least being like, all right, well, I wish I could watch this like peasant fight.
Stoppage City in Richmond, North Melbourne.
Yeah, but it was good though. Like it was fun. It wasn't like a dreary like I don't know. I enjoyed parts of it, but yeah, I mean the two things for me, just we stopped playing the fourth quarter, and the second quarter, just inefficiency going inside 50 was stupid. Yeah. And you're just like, if we'd gone in at halftime 6 goals up, you probably, I mean, what did we go up? Like 24, 4 goals up. So it should have been 8 goals up or whatever. I don't know. I don't remember what the margin was at halftime.
It was only 13 points.
So it's 2 goals. So yeah, we probably were good for another 4 goals.
Yeah.
And we just left them completely on the table and came back to bite us in the AS.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who was their bald other ruckman? Never seen him in my life.
Yeah, Timu bloody Max Gorn. Aiden Johnson.
Do you reckon if I was him, I would be growing a beard pretty quickly?
What, just to fit in?
Yeah, why wouldn't you? Like, do the thing. Do the evil twins, like, oh, which one is it? I can't tell. So I'm, wasn't that a whole thing from like the Odyssey where like Achilles' brother dressed up as him and got killed? And I don't know. I'm back on my ship of Theseus here. So Noah Answorth didn't have a great game.
He did not. He did not. Yeah, one of his
not a great game
really.
at all.
But he's not alone there. I thought Charlie early on was quite good. without hitting the scoreboard. He set up 2 really good goals. And then the moment he got the ball in maybe the second or third quarter, he torched 2 or 3 teammates and he snapped one on the left. And you're like, Charlie, you just set up, 2 really good goals with your sharing inside 50 and, picking up players. And then this.
And then he did it again. With a right foot snap from like 48 meters, and he had Hipwood and someone else, Calamachi. It's like, dude, like that's the kind of shit I'm talking about. That's 2 goals on the table that you've just just left. And
Archie is being, flying under the radar a little bit, is having a pretty quiet year as well. I mean, comparable to Charlie's.
Lohmann too.
Lohmann,
the smalls are not. The smalls are not quite doing it.
Lohmann, I'm going to give.
I can understand with
chop
Lohmann,
out.
sorry.
Yeah, because he obviously doesn't have confidence in his body at the moment, especially when it comes to taking physical punishment. I get that. He's going to need to find that confidence soon, though.
Yes, he will, because we can't have that kind of. I mean, Calamachi was fantastic against the Dogs. But his kind of defensive work hasn't quite been up to the standard it was, particularly in the final series last year. What he did to Whitfield and Blakey. So it's
especially when someone like Bowie is probably one you need to clamp down on. Bowie and Salem, and Bowie had a game for them today.
Well, Bowie just doesn't get tackled because he's elusive, and he's of course you would like Bowie given he's got red hair.
Yeah, that's me. Classic red-haired apologist. I just thought he was really good.
Yeah, no, I'm just, harping back to a couple of weeks ago. So, yes, Melbourne were pretty good. Like, Petrarca, as I said, he's a bit weird. He looks like a ghost.
Yeah, ever since obviously last year and that massive hit and the issues he had with his spleen and all that sort of stuff, he just hasn't been the same player. But he was pretty good today without being the sort of explosive, dynamic Petrarca we've seen for so many years. He had a pretty good game.
Yeah, he was. Anyway, let's stop talking about the Melbourne players that had a good game. I don't like to, I was fairly certain I tried to indicate my loathing of this Melbourne outfit, and I'm having to lower my own colours here. So,
all right, well, let's talk about some players that did well for us and do some votes for Hawthorn Brewery Tours then, shall we?
You first or me first?
You go first.
Okay. I said it was going to be easy.
You did.
And it is. So Fletcher's getting my 3.
Sure.
Because I thought he was very good when we were good, and he was not as shit as some people when we were bad. Gardner gets 2 because he kicked as many goals as he has and then 1 more. And it was a nice surprise. And his pickup running through handball, good. Bailey gets 1.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to swap Fletcher and Gardner. I'm giving Gardner my 3 because I'm never going to give him another vote, I would imagine. I would imagine Darcy Gardner is not going to feature in votes any other week. I'll be very happily surprised if he does, but he's getting my 3, Fletcher 2, Bailey 1. Yeah, that's about it. Dunkley was close to a vote. Wilmot was close to a vote, but not too many others. I could have considered Will Ashcroft fleetingly, but no.
He was a bit too ineffectual, and he's lacking a bit of penetrating kick at the moment. He's doing a lot of give and gets.
Well, that's Will Ashcroft.
Yeah, but he needs to smarten up with it.
Yeah.
You don't need to do that every time. McCluggage is stiff.
Yeah, he had some moments.
For me. And Zorko was pretty good, but also gave away a 50-metre penalty for no reason. I got to say, the first quarter, it might have been their second or third goal, where there was a marking contest with Dunkley and Hipwood, and they paid a free kick for something, and then Hipwood went off and kicked the ball, and they got a 50-metre penalty. No idea what that free kick was for at all.
Yeah, I mean, the ground, I've got even less idea, so sure.
They didn't show really any replay, and it was like Dunkley had first hands to the ball, and then there was one later on where fucking Fritsch goes and kicks a goal, and we were robbed of a 50-metre penalty. So it's like, tighten up, come on.
What did you make of Kitty Coleman's return game? First game back since his ACL, over 400 days or something in between games. I mean, the crowd got right behind him when his name got announced in the team lineups, and especially when he hit that first kick straight in the middle of the ground. There was a moment of like, oh, that's right. This guy's actually really bloody good at football. I remember now he came runner-up in the Norm Smith medal.
And was our finals player of the series.
Yeah.
Tied with McCluggage. He was great for 3 quarters.
Yep. I mean, you can say that about
and then
a lot of
he faded
players.
a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, it's a bit telling that they took Kai off and not Coleman, because Coleman had a couple of moments afterwards, but he just seemed like he wasn't quite in there.
Yeah.
There was one moment where he kind of didn't take some physical punishment that I noticed and said, that's a guy that hasn't played in 16 months. And
defensively, he was pretty off as well, but it's his first game back, whatever. I thought, like, first of all, he got through, tick. And then everything else is just sort of cream on top. And, you know, whether he holds his spot, whether he starts as sub next week, who knows? That's a conversation for later on in the show, but for next week as well. So, it's good that he got through.
Yep. And it just, you know, to kind of quantify as well, Fletcher was basically playing up on a wing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, definitely.
And then, because that's what I sort of thought happened, in the last quarter, and we haven't mentioned this, but the last quarter, it looked like Fletcher was more so playing a half back, and that's where I thought that they were going to pull the trigger and take Coleman off and have McKenna as a runner. They did that thing, where everyone and their dog forever's like, why don't we try Harris Andrews as a forward? And they did it, and it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was really bad.
Yeah, that was desperation personified, wasn't it? That last.
We didn't need it. It didn't need to be that desperate. We had like 7 or 8 minutes, and we weren't.
No, I know.
There.
Harris was obviously getting a bath from Melksham, so it just reeked of desperation.
It was really dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, to me, and I know Fagan over the years has been maligned for making no decisions and making weird decisions. This, to me, was one of the worst coaching decisions he's made. And if it's just a loss to Melbourne in a home and away, whatever. But to take a guy that's kicked 4 goals and has generally been pretty good up forward and just to dump him out back, I know that Harris was having a terrible game, but the spite at which he like punched a ball in a spoil after Melksham had kind of towelled him a few times was quite good.
Yeah.
So I don't think that was necessary, and I think that contributed to the loss of the game, because when McKenna kicked that goal, we should have still won the game. We didn't, but we should have.
No, what we did was kick it to Max Gawn continually.
Yes. And you're looking at it going, okay, we're so good at changing the... And when it's fine, inverted commas, it's fine when it's like Peanuts doing it, and we don't have a lot of them. But when it's like Jack Payne kicking it up the line or whatever, slightly understandable. But when it's Zorko and he's got the ball at the 45 and he elects to go into like the half space, you're like, dude, it's a big bearded bald guy that's like 211 centimeters.
Who's been doing this for a decade.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was...
Anyway, that's the end of that.
It was
Fuck
mind-boggling.
Move on.
And the crowd was just like, what are you doing? And not listening to the commentary, I can only imagine what they were just saying. And maybe it was just, Gawn glazing, or whether they were in fact going, why would they keep kicking it down there? It was just...
Nick Riewoldt was a bit doing that.
Yeah.
So I think at that point I'd swap to 7. BT's having like a holiday. It's the first time I've actually listened to BT commentate all season, and he's just like does not give a shit. It's kind of good. We had Jason Bennett.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good.
And he was fine. And then Riewoldt. And
sure.
Riewoldt was just like, what are they doing? And it's like hard to argue. Hard to argue with. So glad I didn't hear Dwayne Russell, because that would have completely given me an aneurysm.
All right, well, let's move on. Well done to the Ds. Good win for them. Pissed by us. Hawks next week. That's going to be... I'm not looking forward to that at this current rate of knots. No VFL this week. This VFL fixture is so cooked. It's just like I think they've already had 3 buys. It also makes that management of Tom Doedee last week that little bit more baffling. So he's obviously had some sort of setback. I don't know. There's been nothing on any injury reports, swelling or soreness of his knee, or maybe they are literally just load managing because he's missed so much footy. But to manage him out of a game before they knew they had a bye, quite strange. So it'll be interesting to see if he's back in that VFL lineup when they do come back next week. So very strange. I don't understand why we wouldn't have played Casey this week. But having said that, let's have
I think we might have done something maybe against like Oakley Chargers, because I saw something of the tall Darcy guy from Western Bulldogs. His brother played for Oakley, and they were playing the Lions.
Could have been academy stuff, maybe.
Might have done, yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I think so.
Actually, yeah, probably. I didn't really look, to be perfectly frank.
All right, next week.
I just wanted to see if he was gigantic, and he was also gigantic.
Of course. Changes next week. Barry comes straight back in. Who's going out? I would imagine Oscar comes in for Fort if everything's sort of A-OK there. If it's A-OK, who knows? Who are you taking out for Jared Berry?
I don't know.
It's a tough one, isn't it? It was easy last week. It opened the door for Coleman, but now he's in.
Now we're into that thing where I was like, oh, when it's a problem, like, I'm glad I'm not the coach. Shit. Well, who would you put in?
It's a tough one. I'm thinking like easy step one is McKenna comes out and then someone goes to the sub. Who is that someone? Maybe it is Kai Lohman. Maybe it is Coleman to manage game time for those two. So for me, I think that's probably where I'm landing, is that Berry comes in and one of those two, probably Coleman, starts as sub. Yeah, McKenna goes out.
It could be a Levi that could come out.
Yeah, it could be.
Because I thought Fletcher was really good on the wing. Mm-hmm. And but it does leave like a slight amount of imbalance. And I know that in our 23 year we played like Wilmot, McKenna and Coleman as our kind of back flankers, and it's not a great deal of like defensive accountability in there. I think Wilmot's grown into that, but Zorko, Coleman and Wilmot, bit iffy. Jasper at least does kind of give us a bit of defensive accountability. So I don't know. I would be possibly inclined to say Levi as a sub.
Yeah.
But then I would be worried about pissing that villain off.
I get it. He doesn't strike me as the sort of fella that would take it well.
Well, maybe just show him footage of him kicking the ball 50 metres across goal to Harrison Petty and then...
Yeah, that wasn't good, was it? That wasn't good.
Nope. But he is a first-year player, so whatever. That said, they could also just put Zorko as a sub because he might need an old bones rest. Someone actually said it in Discord. I'll find the... Actually, I'm not going to be able to find that because we've had a lot of yammer during this game. But I think it was Danielle that said, can we start treating these games that we like should be winning a bit more Collingwood like, where we sort of bring in some players and try to rotate through and manage the squad. Now, Brooksy, how many years have I been saying that we should be managing the squad?
Yeah, at least since we've started this. Yeah, 2, 3.
2.5.
Yeah.
2.5 years, because I think it was very clear that we were having issue with drop-off after our best 22, and that's not really the case anymore. But like, you don't necessarily need to have Dane Zorko playing every minute of every game.
No, I think there is, and I hope not, but at the same time, I hope so. There is an element of like, oh, he needs to play basically all season to hit that 300. And I'd love Dane Zorko to play 300 games, but I don't want that to come at the expense.
Sub?
Yeah, I know. I don't want that to come at the expense of us pissing away games against Melbourne. So yeah, maybe.
If Marshall's played one game, technically, then Zorko can play 300. So Yeah, I understand, but I just would like to see a little bit more smarts used in terms of managing the squad, because we do look heavy, and we look heavy on the field, like
Yeah, no, I get it.
running heavy.
And I wonder if it's
be
because, as it was a bit of a shootout the first 2.5, 3 quarters, those quarters were long. They were long quarters. They felt long at the ground. I wonder if we just ran out of legs in that last quarter a little bit as well. But then, like, we shouldn't be doing that against
We should
Melbourne.
not be running out of legs against Melbourne.
No.
Like, we have a hard-bodied group of players that are like, they shouldn't be any less fit than anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right.
They should be more fit. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Can we talk about something different?
Yeah, sure. Go on.
Oh, I didn't have any ideas on it.
Okay, well, we can talk about something different, a little bit sad, and we should probably mention it. Robert Walls obviously passed away throughout the week. Obviously a seminal figure in the very early stages of the Brisbane Bears, of course, ties with Fitzroy and Carlton as well, and a big media personality thereafter. I wasn't really a big fan of Robert Walls' media career. I guess I was obviously very young when he was really making an impact in the footy world. By the time I was sort of cognizant of it, he was in the media, and he sort of struck me as a bit of back in my day type operator, and I was like, I don't really love this guy's opinion. My mum loved Robert Walls. Every time he would pop up on the screen and say anything, she would always say the same thing. Oh, he's got a pleasant face, that Robert Walls. Got a pleasant face. So I always just remembered him for having a pleasant face, whether he did or didn't. But yeah, a sad passing, one of the great sort of footy figures.
Yeah, I must admit, they did actually do something. So at halftime, they did show the Hawthorn Bears game at the Gabba.
Yeah.
That like last quarter blitz, where I think we came from maybe like 40 odd points down against Hawthorn, and he'd pointed out that the Hawks players took their huddle in the shade. And it was a bit of a hit parade of people that kicked a goal, and they came over the top of them in the end. So that was kind of nice. Like, I must admit, I know Walls, and I know him sort of more from his like commentary on radio and stuff like that. And but he was kind of like an earlier on the couch guy with Jared Healy and maybe Mike Sheehan, I think. But I don't think at the time I had Foxtel, so I don't think I saw any of it ever. Wasn't quite that.
One of the videos that's been doing the rounds across the week is him sort of versus Kevin Sheedy in very early Talking Footy Channel 7 hosted by Bruce McAvaney days, and his chat of talking to Kevin Sheedy's like, well, you've just been at a rich Victorian club for 20 years. You've got no idea what it's like to go up to a bottom of the ladder club and have to take money from your own bank account to pay your best and fairest winner. Like, stay in your lane. Like, you don't know how good you've got it, sort of stuff. And that was quite an interesting watch.
Yeah, I have seen that once or twice, and I think there might be like a little fly on the wall Caroline Wilson there as well, just like lurking in the side, not knowing what to say.
A very young Caro.
Yeah, but he was on the money with that. I think sometimes his analysis wasn't always quite. It was sometimes a bit negative, but that's okay, because I think, as you said, back in my day, that is a bit of it. And I would be also a bit remiss if I was overly critical of that kind of rhetoric. So, sad to hear he was sick for a while. So I think
I'm glad he got to sort of go out on his own terms, with the various laws that have been down in Victoria and stuff, with the assisted dying and all that sort of stuff. So it sounds like the way that he went was actually quite sort of nice.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Not so good. Adam Selwood as well. That's awful. Troy Selwood in February and his twin brother now in May. That must be a really hard couple of months for that Selwood family, and I really, really feel for them.
It's hard to comprehend.
It is, isn't it?
And I don't. Yeah, I've got brothers, and the idea of like losing one sounds pretty grim. And then losing two of them would also be like, magnitudely grim. So I don't know what that would be like. But I can't imagine it's...
Yeah, it would be pure hell. I can only imagine it would be just pure hell. So,
and you like, I feel for the parents, because to having given so much of probably your lives and yourselves, like to your boys that are playing football at albeit the highest level, and they're achieving success, to have all of that kind of like go in the way that it has, with obviously some underlying like sadness and unhappiness. I think it would be very hard for the parents to kind of quantify whether they push too hard or whether they, but
who knows?
Talk to people.
Yep. Absolutely. 100%. All right. Well, let's do some tipping, shall we?
So first off, I want to say I'm ticked off because I'm out of the gauntlet because I tipped the Lions in the gauntlet.
No.
So
how about that? Getting done by your own team.
Got done by my own team. Having mapped out the entire thing, and I'm going to keep track of it, because if they lose, if this is the one that I lost on, and I get every single other one, I'm writing the club a letter demanding my $1,000. So,
all right. Well, I got 6 this week. Missed out on the Lions, obviously. I didn't pick West Coast. And as we spoke about on the show last week, and as I posted on social media, you said Freo would 100% win, just to spite us all, and they bloody did.
Yes, I'm a little bit unhappy because I forgot to change my Port Adelaide tip to Geelong. And I was out and forgot the game was on.
I told you they love beating them at Adelaide.
I know. No, it was like a provisional. I just put it in.
Yep.
And then I forgot because I was out driving around, and then was like, oh, shit, the game's on, and I forgot to change it. So, unhappy camper. I got 5.
All right, well, let's look
ahead. And I also did not get my 46-point margin of the Gold Coast. So.
Let's look ahead to next week. Geelong
just
Bulldogs.
A thing. Hold on.
Yeah, go on.
Why is it that Hawthorn are playing us this week off of like a 1,000,000-day break?
Million-day break, including a flight to Darwin.
Yeah, sucked in.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Look, I'm not excited. I'm not excited to play Hawthorn at all, because they've got our number and it's at the MCG, and there's nothing about it that is filling me with any sort of confidence at the moment. So let's just start on Thursday night at GMHBA Stadium, Geelong and the Bulldogs. And I wonder if
this should be a cracker.
It should be a really good game. I'm a bit worried because for the first time in basically forever, Geelong have got some red in their Guernsey inexplicably. And when I was watching them on Saturday, I thought, God, they look like the Bulldogs wearing their Guernsey. So that is going to, unless someone's changing their top for Thursday night, that is going to absolutely shake me.
Yes, I didn't think about that, and I will not think about that again until Thursday night. They had a few injuries. Dangerfield went out with a hamstring.
Yeah.
And so did someone else.
Bose.
I tell you what, yeah, Bose. That game was carnage at the Adelaide Oval between Horn Francis and...
Yeah, that looked like a bad one
that
the Hornet.
Mullet dude that,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Dogs.
Yeah, I'm going Dogs as well. Geelong at this point are heavy favourites, which is... I suppose it's at home, but the Dogs just look so good. They made an absolute mess of Essendon. An absolute mess of Essendon.
Yeah, I'm not unhappy I didn't bother watching that.
Yeah. It wasn't
just
great a Saturday night, was it?
And then it's like, okay, straight away, Essendon versus Richmond.
Dream time at the G. I'm going the Tigers in this one.
I don't think the Tigers will win, but I would like them to win because I think that they're more fun than Essendon. No Noah Bolter.
Yeah, no, he's got to be at home in bed, tucked up. All right, Carlton GWS at Marvel. Ugh, yuck. Jeez, this is a tough one as well.
GWS for me.
Bounce back after a pretty disappointing performance against the Dockers. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you, and I know how much of that is I hate Carlton that is influencing your tip.
Didn't get me wrong this round.
I'm tipping the Hawks.
I'm tipping the Lions, and I hope we have the same thing happen that happened against Gold Coast.
Yeah, so am I.
But I do understand the difference is that it's not Collingwood.
Mm-hmm.
And like this game is far more 50-50 than whatever. Anyway, tip whoever you want.
Speaking of Collingwood, I'm tipping them to beat North.
Yeah, are they going to come back from 500 points again and then get away with a not 50-metre penalty?
No, I think.
Or is it going to be...
I think they'll just belt them.
Correct.
Oh, God. Port Adelaide Freo. This is a game I'm not going to watch a single second of.
See, I can see myself being curious to watch that game because it is two of the flakiest operators in sport, and I'm tipping Fremantle.
Yeah.
I have not learned my lesson.
I'm going to tip them as well, and I'm prepared to get...
And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say Horn Francis will come from he won't play, but he'll come on the field over the optus, say, with a chair, and will lay someone out, and then Port Adelaide will win.
Adelaide, West Coast, Adelaide. Ooh, Sydney, Melbourne.
Sydney are not very good.
No.
And they're also without Amati and McInerney because McInerney just seems compelled to be like flogging people.
That Amati one was bad. I thought he'd get sort of 4 weeks for that.
But at the same time, I don't think Melbourne are good. I think that, and this gets thrown out a lot, and I don't love it, but I think that was Melbourne's grand final that they just played, so I'm tipping Sydney.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Melbourne, Sydney at the MCG. Ooh, I'm going to tip Melbourne for now, but I could very well change that, and I'm tipping the Suns to beat St Kilda at Marvel.
So let's just... History lesson here. St Kilda Gold Coast at Marvel Stadium was the worst game possibly ever.
That's true.
Although that said, that Carlton-Sydney game was pathetic too. That was such a horrible, horrible, horrible game of football.
Yeah, you're right.
Man, Saints got to go. I don't know. That's a 50-50 for me, but I'm going to...
It is a little bit. And Saints have got a knack of beating the Suns in really close games as well.
Yeah, where the score's like 30-22.
Yes.
So that is my provisional tip. Will be Euroke.
Do you reckon
over the Suns?
Do you reckon we are going to adopt the Indigenous name for Sudek Knuckles round moving forward? I can't understand why we wouldn't have.
What would it be? Would it just be Woolen Gabba?
No, it'd be Mianjin.
But is it so? But is it Brisbane like a direct translation? Because I had this as a question. The little symbol on the 50-meter arc. What does that mean? Like, because I'm not.
I assume.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure
50.
that there are, but I don't know that they had numerical articulation in like linguistics.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to pretend.
Under the impression that they don't, so I don't know. But I was wondering, is it like arc? Is it like scoring zone, or is it something like that? Like, it was a
Let us know.
But yeah,
if you do know,
if someone knows, please tell me because I'm curious. So would it be a direct like Mianjin for?
I assume so. Yeah.
What it is? Yeah.
I'm surprised we haven't done it yet.
Well, the cohort that we've got would kind of dictate. Got to say though, we didn't learn our lesson from last year. So last year we looked like we had a big fanny pack over the butt of our jersey.
Yeah, now we got the plumber's crack.
And this year we've got the tree. Just stop putting stuff on that part of the jersey.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't.
Or wear it and be like, hold on a second, that looks like an arse crack.
Yep. Yeah, a little bit of road testing wouldn't have hurt, would it? Oh well. It's still great.
I thought the Guernsey was really good, and I think that the maroon one looks much better than the red one. Yes. The maroon one reads a lot nicer. So, and it was also nice to not have interference on the back where you can see the number. But yeah, just get rid of that bar on the lower, because it's either pulled down, looks stupid, or it's tucked up and you can't see it. Save yourself some paint.
Let's wheel it thanks to Crisp Communications. crispcoms.co. Get yourself a free Brisbane Lions fan card sticker through our website. Abby and the team have graciously made some Brisbane Lions fan card stickers and giving them to you for free, which is absolutely insane. You can do that through our website. It is time for the wheel. So I believe it is my turn to pass or hold. Is that right?
What did I have last week? It was like a bit of a. It was Brett Staker and someone else. Brent Staker.
That's right.
Staker and someone else.
Was it Hot Toddy Banfield last week as well? Or was that?
No, Todd Banfield was Patful, and then it was Staker and someone who's evidently quite forgettable.
All right, well, let's move on. I'm going to spin the wheel here.
Oh, it was Jared Berry. Sorry, Jared Berry.
Oh, that's right. Cammy Rayner. Pass or hold on Cam Rayner. Ooh. That's a tough one. Obviously, recency bias plays a lot in this. He hasn't had the greatest year. I might actually pass on Cam Rayner. And I'm going to regret that, I think.
No, you'll end up going into like Martin Pike or something.
Should have held. Should have held. I've got Josh Walker.
Finally, my time is here.
I've got Josh Walker, the man we spoke about on our North preview with Josh from the Further North podcast. And I said I did have a soft spot for Josh Walker because he filled a defensive role in some pretty lean times. Look, the one great memory I have of Josh Walker, do you remember, and funnily enough, it involves your mate Cam Rayner here. I can't remember who.
I think I know exactly what you're talking about. It's against Adelaide.
Adelaide. And there was 2 hangers in a row in the space of 10 seconds. It was like Josh Walker inside 50, Cam Rayner in the goal square. And during times where we didn't have a huge amount of cheering.
Oh God,
I've
lost.
That was it. So
I find that's the kind of part of me because that was in I think 2018.
Yep.
And it was an intercept from it like maybe a kick out or something. That to me is goal of the year. If you've got 2 mark of the year candidates in a sequence that has a goal of the year. I think we lost that game by 7 points. It was in that time where we were losing like games by less than 10. I think Louis Taylor kicked the goal after the siren to turn it into
That's right, yeah.
An unnecessary goal on the side. I don't know how I remember shit like that.
Well, back in that was in the day where we were the best, or they're the best 0-9 team out there, and now we're arguably the worst 7-2 team. And our percentage is probably about the same as it was in 2018.
Yeah. I think it was like 89%, and now we're probably like 101. So a couple of losses, and we'd be in trouble. Josh Walker he was doing a good job on the social medias in the 2017-18s.
That's right.
Him and Bastanak, I don't know, must be some North Melbourne thing where they had a lot to do on the YouTubes, and it was quite entertaining. There might have been some sort of cooking thing going on, maybe.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Breakfast with Josh Walker, where he'd go to the players and be like, "Cook me something," and it was awful, but not Michael Voss scrambled eggs awful.
Oh God. You mean the hot milk with a little bit of eggs in it? One of the great videos for those of you playing at home, Michael Voss cooking scrambled eggs as what, like a 17, 18-year-old?
It was six tablespoons, and he just pours the milk straight in, and he's laughing. We're all laughing. Yeah. It's not good.
All right, well, talk to me about Cam Rayner then. I've said my bit about Josh Walker.
Yeah, that's all we got.
The man
I don't know what
that
really...
looked about 40 years old when he was 23 because he went bald so horribly early, and then he got plugs.
Yeah, maybe I need plugs. I don't know. I feel like this widow's peak is getting a bit thin. So Josh Walker, if you're listening, please help me out, man. Now, Cam Rayner has had a bunch of different haircuts. Started with the Dustin Martin. I quite liked the long kind of floppy shit.
Yep.
And then he had the buzz cut, which was quite mean, but didn't really suit him. And now he's sort of somewhere in between the lot of them. He's a premiership player.
Yes.
And he's played some fantastic games. But he is a bit of a nearly man in terms of his whole career has been very much, can you just do the thing that everyone wants you to do all of the time?
Yep.
And it hasn't happened. But I think he's a very nice person, certain American trips aside. I think he's good for the dressing room and he's good for the players, and he adds a little bit of joviality to the club. Number 1 draft pick, I think he cops a lot of flack for that, and I think he's a better, more skilled player than he probably is given credit for, and he's working well in the system. So I don't know. I don't have any anecdotes about Cam Rayner, really. it's Cam Rayner or Josh Walker. Like, you're not picking Josh Walker, so I don't have to do anything.
Yeah, it is a bit of a laydown misère for you, isn't it? I knew I shouldn't have passed on Cam Rayner, but here we are. You can have your say at our social media pages. Thanks to Chris.
I was due. I was due for one, you know?
Yeah. All right, well, we've got the Hawks next week at the MCG. And as I said, I'm not looking forward to this one. I don't know if you are, but it would be nice to win this game. As I've just shown in my tipping, I don't think we will, considering the hold that Hawthorn have on us. It's a Saturday day game, 4:15 Twilight Jobbo.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we'll do all right. I think we should adopt a certain strategy against their like nitwit little shitbag ducking weasels and flopping Sicilies and Newcombs. I'm sick to death of them.
Mm-hmm.
They are so fake tough. It's so annoying to watch them just go down like a sack of shit every time they get the ball. When you're going in to tackle those little guys, pretend and then step back. Just step back and let them missile through like the porpoising dolphin that they are, Wizard, and Dylan Moore. Dylan Moore's worse than Ginnivan, but I don't like them.
There's pretty... They're an unlikable bunch. I think...
They are so unlikable.
Like, Connor McDonald is my least favourite of the lot, that Eshe-looking Nike TN collecting rat tail.
See that one with the rat tail? Yeah, no good.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
I like Weddle.
I like Weddle, yeah.
And I don't mind CJ. He's all right. I mean, Lloyd Meek's pretty good too. Like, man, we're getting a bit... The quality of ruckman in this competition is sleepedly just crept to sky high levels.
And our guys...
Lloyd Meek didn't play, yeah.
Yeah, he got rested, and they had Ned Reeves in, who did pretty well, actually. They also had Weddle doing the backup ruck.
Yeah, that's terrifying, because Weddle's just like a raging, rampaging half-back dude that you're like, oh, what is it? What can't this guy do?
Yeah.
Jack Gunson is annoying.
I know, and he's going to kick like 5 on us, isn't he?
He's going to do the same thing he did last year, which is go straight to Harris Andrews and work him. So Harris Andrews has got to buck up here. He's had Melksham make him look like a dickhead, and he's been made to look foolish in a lot of games, Harris Andrews, this year. So, don't know. But I think, Newcomb is annoying. Warple is annoying. They just get everything called. Oh, man. They're rubbing me the wrong way, man.
Oh, they're
getting frustrated.
They're rubbing the whole competition the wrong way, Hawthorn, with the way they're going about it. So
I think there's an element of bitterness I have, and I have a lot of bitterness, but an element of bitterness I have about Hawthorn is that they haven't been crap long enough for their fans to learn to be humble. That's the thing that really annoys me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's understandable for Collingwood to a degree, because Collingwood are just a bit like that. They're always a bit good, and then they're like garbage for like 1 year randomly. But Hawthorn have just been like, they haven't been bad.
No, not since
except
the 70s.
for like once. And it's like these kids that have like, you know, can you imagine what it would be like if, you know, we watched the triple premiership and then by 2009 we were back winning. Like, we would be so maniacally full of ourselves, and that's what Hawthorn are.
Yeah. But
we've had to sweat and slog to get to this point of being a good team.
It's annoying, isn't it?
And they haven't.
I think it's something like, if you go back to mid-70s, it's like an average of every 6 years, Hawks win a flag. So it's like the longest you have to wait as a Hawks fan is six years, and you'll be back up there again. You're like, fuck you.
Yep. Don't like them. And I wish if someone goes in hard and gets a high contact, hit them. Hit them. Do weeks. I don't care. Like, if someone knocks the Wizards' head off, I'm looking at you, Noah Answorth, knock it off. Like, properly knock it off.
Well,
I don't care.
Considering Starcevic is God knows how long away, we probably still need Noah Answorth in the team.
But still, the thing is it's like, make him think twice about ducking his little tiny head or giant head. I
get it. I'm right there with you, as there's a lot of neutral fans that love to generally watch the footy until Hawthorn's on the TV, and then you're like, God, these guys just give me the shit.
Yeah. Glad that the Gold Coast beat them.
And I really generally like Jai Newcomb, but that was some piss from him on Thursday.
Yeah, but he's been doing it for like the last calendar year. Because he was he was a no-nonsense, win it at the contest, play with honor type guy, and he's now started like flip-flopping. He's been doing it for weeks. Sicily obviously is like his own, like...
He's a gem.
Yeah. Oh, dear. Yeah, I'm starting to have like a seizure thinking about this, or migraine or something. So what are we going to do about them?
I'll tell you what we don't do is just bomb it long down the line to their ruckman.
Yeah, but maybe if they're expecting us not to do that, then if we do that, they won't be expecting it.
Maybe. I don't know. We're just going to have to play our best footy, and that midfield is going to have to step right up because they got done in the middle. Like centre bounces, especially today, they're going to have to really rectify that next week.
I think as well, we're going to need to watch out the way that they isolate their deep 50 because they do put those little guys. And I think our one-on-one defending has not been super.
No.
Actually, it's been okay. It's more our system and our structure that's been a bit piss. So maybe it might be good. It might kind of play into going back to kind of the primal instincts of what defending should be for us, and our guys will actually just focus on their player. None of this like, oh, whoops, I didn't notice that guy's walked right in between our zone and it's an uncontested kick and now they've got a scoring shot. Too much of that. Don't like it. Yeah, midfielders need to lift a bit.
Yeah.
And they need to run not just one way. Can't just leave Dunkley to do everything.
No.
Insanity.
He's going to have his work cut out for them, as they all are. I can't imagine Lockie having another poor week. Do they have a run with player, Hawks?
Wasn't that Irish bloke?
Oh, yeah, Nash. That's right.
No, was it Nash? Who was the guy that used to go with Dacos in that game where Dacos broke his shin?
McGuinness, but Finn McGuinness seems to just be playing as some sort of footballer now. Not a very good one, but a footballer. Yeah.
Connor Nash, the old round arm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, well, I don't know. We should beat them. We might not beat them. I want to beat them.
I definitely want to beat them for a number of reasons. One, because it's Hawthorn and we haven't beaten them in a long time. And two, because they're giving me the shits. And three, because we need a bloody win. And some sort of faith restored in our team that's been lackluster at best the last 2 weeks.
Treading water. Did you see that of the last 20 times we've played Hawthorn, we've played them
twice
not at the Gabba.
Yeah.
Like, it's been 17-3 or something like that.
Yeah.
And there's reasons for it, and they are because like they sell however many games to Tasmania or whatever. But it's like, if they're selling games to Tasmania, why is it our problem? Like, I don't understand how that can be a thing where you go, all right, well, Hawthorn are selling games to Tasmania, so they've got to play like the not big fan teams. That's not our fucking problem. It's your problem. Go and play Collingwood down there. You sold the game. Am I losing it?
No, I mean,
yes, is the answer. But
yes, but I mean, since we've been back up there, good again, we have played them at the G and Marvel and stuff.
I know, but even then, it's just kind of like, why? What's with the disparity of it? You know,
yeah.
Like, I don't know. Hawthorn are a big team. Why aren't we getting them playing up at the Gabba?
Well, we do play them at Gabba later in the year for the first time in fucking forever. So I am looking forward to that. And that will be actually last...
Round 24, right?
Yep, and if Zorko plays every game, it'll be his 300th. I think it'll, like, if, all things being equal, it'll be like a 250th for Charlie, potentially, and 200th for someone else.
It gives us 2 games wiggle room with Zorko. Because, we're going to play 2 finals. So...
Sure.
He'll be there.
Not with the way we're playing at the moment.
As I said, we played some of our best football, but we lost the game stupidly because we stopped playing football.
Yeah, we've done that against Melbourne before.
Yep. Don't remind me.
All right, let's put this one in the bin and move forward, and I guess we'll talk about the Hawks next week.